I am FrickMyNick. I'm joined by Ro and Tino. We're going to be casting the qualifiers here for the Behind the Summit LAN that's happening this January. And, yeah, sorry, Beyond the Summit.
Beyond. We're not going behind the summit because that's kind of boring. We're going beyond the summit.
Look,
you know? It's got that action potential.
Yeah, I live under a rock. I've actually never heard of this organization before this, so I'm not going to lie. But we're going to be casting some good games. We do have some familiar faces, some up-and-coming talent meeting with some older talent here. Got, returning teams like the Boomers with like the Melo, Rando, Badonsky core coming back. We're actually going to be casting Dunk versus King's Crew. A bit of a modified Dunk Masters roster, kind of a throw together between the Glove World and Dunk Masters teams for this first season of RGL Invite versus what I assume is most of King's Crew. I'm not super sure.
It's the King's Crew roster for the most part. They've got the the avatars, but I think they've got Speedy and Exile as pickups for this event because of how the LAN format's going to be. Because apparently, as I understand it, whoever you play with in these qualifiers, you are locked. You're basically confirming you are with that roster.
I think it was like you have to play with either 4 or 5 of those players. I want to say it's 4. Just because there was at Rewind 2, it's not that it was a huge deal, but there was that Ascent roster that had to replace half their team to go to the event. So, and people were kind of miffed about that. They ended up getting second anyways, but they played the qualifiers with a vastly different roster, so there's a rule for that. But yeah, the Dunk roster, to run it down, is going to be Shiny and Dippity on Scout. We're going to have Tambu on Roamer, Daff on Pocket, Indust on Medic, and Ether on Demo. And then the King's Crew roster, if I'm not mistaken, is Lucrative on Medic, Q-Stiff on Demo. They have Ed and I want to say Oki on Soldier. They have one of their original soldiers. And then they have Exile and Speedy playing Scout for them.
Yeah. And they've also got all 12 in server, so hopefully... hopefully we'll be able to go live here in a moment. Lucrative threatened a 30 seconds and start with not a lot of backbone behind the threat, but hopefully we're going to be getting live here soon. And we're on process for our first map of this best of 3, which is, I don't really know if there's any, if we can say either of these teams has an advantage one way or another, but it's still, one of the best maps to watch in general.
Yeah, and we are going to be going live here. There's a bit of a time constraint. I know a couple of the teams have players that and as well as Ro and myself, but we are going to be going live. Who are the players to watch on these mids, bro?
Honestly, if that's really Oki in this game, I assume, then definitely Okiwaka. Long-time legend. But first mid, that's either on Demo or playing in the face of Hit Yourself. That's Okiwaka. Yeah, so Oki knocks him back with the arrow, continuing for a second push right now. Picks up the rest of the team. Still creating a turnaround to pick up that frag as he escapes, so that's 2 getting out, but the chase is on.
And that was a bomb on the side of Dunk, but they really didn't control anything up top.
We have lost the control point.
They just kind of got
the control point is being contested.
Just sitting up top and shot down at the unprotected players on the low ground. We are going to have a full ad here for Lucrative and Co. trying to push into lap. Dunk's going for a pretty standard hole with a sniper NG on the left side with their demo, and everybody else playing on the right side. It looks like King's Crew is going to be gearing up to push in this lobby area to push into lap.
Yeah, they're making their way to the right side. They're going to be getting a little bit of ground here, but Wonk has got those snipes up. It's going to threaten the team to force very early. Lucrative trying to get his players in, and they're not getting a lot of ground before the sentry finally pushes them back, falls down, and Q-Stiff is locking on the right side. A little bit of cap time going out from Exile, who's now keeping the attention on the left as well. Just pulls it out from under them. That's how process last should be. FrickMyNick.
Yeah, that was a pretty clinical last push where, they got in on the left side. They didn't get a ton done with their Uber, but Dunk committed way too hard to the kiting, and they had nobody in a position to contest the point, and they just capped it out. They cleared the sticks, and it's a 1-0 lead for King's Crew here. Now we are going to go into the second mid. It looks like Dunk again opting for this left side mid. King's Crew is going to meet them. They have a little more top control. They've got up top. Tambu's going to meet that scout up top along with the soldier. Dunk's going to commit hard on the left side. Oki and Q-Stiff are going to be the first stats, but they're going to trade out for Daff and Tambu. Indus is on really low HP here, trying to juke and jive here. He's going to get the little pack, get some HP, and it looks like it's going to come down to a pretty scrappy DM fight, but In place of a soldier, they have a demo on the side of Dunk, and they're going to trade out. Indus is going to go down, so it's just going to come down to Dippity and Shiny to see if they can get anything in pure DM fight here against 2 scouts with heal. And it looks like Speedy and Exile with their heals are going to win out the mid.
Yeah, really nice job by the soldier that kind of bombed in, tried to get on top of Indust, and he got a little rattled, and the scouts were able to follow up and get that kill very late into the fight. So we see now, with such a significant advantage, it looks like they might even be able to take second without really much contention from Daffodil, who's just sitting at this entrance. Has eyes on Lucrative, so he does have an opportunity. Tambo's kind of committed also inside of the IT area, trying to get a little bit onto Speedy. Nice little corner shot to clip him. He's going to be waiting for that health pack, but has to commit to a fight because Q-Stiff will not allow him. There it is. Gets the frag. So that's going to be a nice little opening for them to push in, even if they're down 1 scout.
Yeah, Tambo found himself in a 1v1 versus a with Speedy, but we are going to see the Uber in from Kingscrew. They're going to Uber in on the left side from their perspective. They're going to find the gun in the right spawner and the heavy, but again, there's no stickies on point, and nobody's in a position to contest. And a very clinical aspect once again from Kingscrew, just going to the point that's not sticky.
This is really dominating lead by Kingscrew already. Is this the Kingscrew that I know from, like, you know, Invite?
It might be. You know, we're playing with a bit of a modified roster, but they are, you know, so is the Dunk team. But we are going to be going into our 3rd mid here. We're going to see a fast rollout from Oki. We have a scout rolling out IT on the side of Kingscrew. It looks like, again, another pretty standard mid out of Dunk. They're going to go up the right side. Going to bomb both their soldiers across up top. They're going to find Oki pretty weak, but Ether's going to go down unprotected. Speed's going to find that one. Dambo's going to trade out the frag onto Oki, but we're going down himself. That's going to bomb in, not going to find anything, but the business end up the scattergun from Speedy, and he's going to go down. Dunk did not lose their medic this mid, so it is, you know.
Not yet. A little early to say that. Now he's back in last. Okay, he's safe for sure. But Exile's pretty on the hunt.
He had 2 players with him, and there were spawners coming up.
But you never know, dude. They're thirsty for blood, and they've got so much aggression on their sides. My HUD isn't even working, so I don't even know who's got advantages or what the caps are. I'm just going to reload the scheme real quick, and then you can cover from here.
Yeah, so we're going to see the sack in from Ed, trying to find the force onto Indus. He did live the mid, so it's an even Ubers here. We're going to see the counter sack out of one of the Dunk soldiers. Not even going to find a single point of damage onto Lucrative there. And we're probably just going to play out the stalemate. We'll probably see a few sacks out of Kingscrew, maybe switch somebody over to Sniper. And it looks like Speedy is going to pick up the Sniper rifle here. So I'm not sure if Daff's going to know this. I know both Speedy and Daff are, they play Prolander and Highlander and stuff together. So he might know this, although I personally don't know Speedy as like a 6th Sniper. We don't see any off classes on the side of Dunk. It is even here. They do have 2 scouts still. So it's going to be a little harder for them to hold this if they lose anybody, considering they don't have like an engineer or a heavy to fall back on.
Yeah, and actually this is what's interesting. They actually opt to go with the counter sniper play, but this is the perfect opportunity for someone like Oki or Davis, who's really kind of deep into this main lobby area. They can just jump around, and Indus has no support whatsoever. I mean, a scout can't react that quickly, so they're having to play this aggressive style where Tambo's really deep inside lobby on the left, and is actually trying to go for an opportunity here from lower. He finds his mark, tries to get onto Lucrative, but finds himself face to face with Exile. They trade 1 for 1, and Daff is able to follow up really quickly and get some damage, allows some more room for Ether to peek forward, but no one else commits, so they're just gonna have to back off.
Yeah, Tambo jumped into Exile, and I think Exile went to try and body block him, and Tambo hit a nice couple directs to trade out there. Speedy's gonna come back up on the Sniper. But yeah, going back to that hole, there was a point where Oki like peaked rollout and was like spamming rockets at Indus. Like if he had rocket jumped, I'm pretty sure he'd gotten in relatively clean, and there's no sentry or heavy or anything to try and deny him. So
yeah, very
we're gonna
vulnerable.
see again the Speedy versus Dippity Sniper wars here. We'll see if anything comes of this. I see Speedy trying to pick up the one side here. He's gonna find the soldier, but he's gonna miss the mark on that one.
Speedy! Oh my goodness. He's getting so deep into the left, and is going to get an angle here eventually that is going to catch out one of the players, potentially Exile Ether. Oh, and he misses, and that allows a fully charged shot from Wong to finish that off. And Tambo quick on the retaliation to get in there. Tries to get a little bit of room there, but dies.
It was a really good attempt to get onto Q-Stiff there. He wasn't able to find Lucrative, but he got Q-Stiff down to about 60 health. But it's a little hard to kill a demo man who's getting tanked with heal. Again, we're just going to be stalemating it out. Kingscrew is up 2-0 at the point. We are playing 30-minute maps. This is not the RGL or ECA rule set. We're just going to play the 30 minutes first to 5, like standard NA land rule set. So Kingscrew really has no issue just grinding down the time. They are in control here. I mean, they have 4 points. They have you know, up 2 rounds, so.
Yeah, and like I was mentioning earlier, Tambo playing this really aggressive style. He actually has an opportunity to go in and get the force, but it looks like Lucrative wants to lead the charge, so there's no need for Tambo to sack his life. He's going to be waiting in the back lines, though, on this Uber and tries to get something done here, but gets juggled by Exile, who's now trying to get to the face of this Demo Man. Might get cut out here, but Q-Stiff, who wrapped from the right side of the lobby, is able to get so much damage off and get all these kills with a little bit of help from Okiwaka and a couple air shots here and there on the end there to get a clean 6-0 last push coming off the tails of that Uber exchange.
Yeah, Tambo tried to flank behind in the lobby during that Uber exchange, but he found himself there a little too early and was in the face of an Ubered scout a little before he was on Ubered, so. And then off the back of that, they weren't able to control the doors, and Kingscrew just flooded into last and took the DM fight and won out. And it's 3 rounds for Kingscrew.
Kingscrew is sitting high and mighty on top of this point here. A little opportunity there for Davis to jump across, but both soldiers from the Dunk Masters have managed to pull behind and get a lot of damage off. Q-Stiff gets cut off and isolated, but it's only Indust alive now in the back lines while his 2 players are so far forward. Daffodil healthy enough to get back and meet up with Indust out of sewer. It's going to be a numbers advantage overall for Kingscrew, but it's just going to be, you know, kind of poking and prodding while the respawns are coming up. I don't know if Davis wants to commit to this right now.
Looks like he's going to go for it off the back. He's going to get into the rollout pretty deep here, but he's not going to find a single point of damage on Indust. Indust just playing the angles and the rollout there. And again, Kingscrew won the mid, but again, similar to the last one, Indust did live, so it's gonna even out here. There was a small advantage for the side of Lucrative, not that they really knew about it, but Indust was kind of alone for part of the mid, and then left alone before Daff was able to meet up with them. But we are gonna see the Spy out of Speedy.
Yeah,
So
the Speedy Spy with that medic speed, making his way around. He's gonna be in rollout, gonna be going for the decloak right now. Indust is completely unaware. Oh no, he got the decloak off and no one's even looking. Oh, it's over. It's over.
He gets the drop. Yeah, it was really good timing there for a spy play, you know, right at the end of the mid. We're going to see the force out of, I want to say it was Tambo. Yeah, Tambo was able to get in from IT into mid, recognizing that there was a lack of a scout, and they were going to get a consolation pick onto Exile, so there are no scouts on the side of Kingscrew. So the bobbing soldiers here on the side of Dunk will be pretty dangerous, but they do have heals on the side of Kingscrew still, so it looks like they're just going to, you know, back out, wait for their scout spawns. They do have a good size Uber advantage, about 40% here.
Getting lined up here. Speedy on scout. They've got everything set up in place. They just gotta worry about all these stickies that are kind of locking down this choke. Aether's getting a little overcommitted though, trying to set up new ones. He could get caught out here if they decided to push at that exact moment, and that's not what you want. You need your Demo Man at last on this back off. He's just the first person in the front lines rather than the back lines. Thankfully though, they've managed to rotate back and get a lot of pressure here. Kingscrew has managed to pick off 2 important frags here from the flank that gives them a lot of room to push in, and that's gonna be a full surrender from the Dunk Masters, but Indust is at 90% right now.
Yeah, but nobody's capping on the side of Kingscrew, so they're going into last, but they're not able to play the point, so Dunk can just sit and spawn until they get their Uber. They're going to push out a spawn now that they got the Uber. Indust popping through the doorway. Doesn't look like they're going to find a lot. There's some players struggling in last. Both the soldiers are in last for the side of Kingscrew. Looks like they're going to focus down Ed. Ed's going to go down along with Lucrative. Lucrative's not going to make his way out of that one. Exile's down to 3 HP. He's going to die as well. It's a 4v3, but with no heals on the side of Kingscrew. Oh, but a huge play coming out of Q-Stiff to get onto Indust there. And Speedy's going to pick off Ether. Oh, huge plays coming out of Speedy. Also going to pick off Tambo. Dippity being the only survivor. He's going to try and make his way on the 2, get some cap time. But Kingscrew's going to get their spawns up. They may opt to try and fight this.
Yeah, Davis is committing to it, but Dippity's got the shots to match. And we'll be keeping him on the ground. Exile also meeting up with the respawn. So many players that choke. 6 players. What an incredible spawn wave they managed to pull off there by complete accident. And now Ether, though, putting in a lot of damage with the stick. He's got the pipes out too. He's throwing in so much damage, and Ether has chased out this entire team while helping them finish their cap. Unfortunately, Davis could not get that arrow around the corner, and that's going to be Lucrative's, I think, his first death. You know, not first death, second death. There was a full wipe earlier, but this is the first time he's been caught out after some kind of exchange going on there. So this is a very big turn of events for the Dunk Masters to kind of get a stranglehold on what
and they definitely
get.
need something like that. They're down 3-0, and as I was talking to them before this game happened, and they were coming into this pretty confident. I think that's what they need. Kingscrew tried to push off the spawn advantage there onto 2 and just take the raw DM fight, but Ether had something to say about it. Came out with 3 early picks, and off the back of that, Indust is going to have about a 75% advantage. They're going to use through this 3 door. They're going to bring Ether and Shiny in, but they aren't going to find anybody. They're going to get the gun on the right side here. Looks like Oki's trying to poke around, and Lobby's going to meet the flank from Dunk Masters. He should go down here shortly. Oh, Oki's just going to get out. He's just going to live. They're going to get into last, and 3 players are going to go down. There's so awful health on the side of King's Crew, but nobody dies. Lucrative finally dies to a spam pipe from out there, but he's going to go down himself.
And that's going to give a nice, resounding defense from King's Crew, getting back onto the point here. Going to be stopping the next wave, potentially here. So it looks like they're going to have a much easier time trying to work their way into this midpoint, while Indus is just double healing his scouts inside the choke. And somehow, there's no fight. There's like no one on second. All the players are waiting for their medic to respawn. Lucrative is just now getting up to the front lines, and that actually has enabled the rest of the Dunk Masters to kind of take control once again. But the soldiers from King's Crew are not going to let it up. They both jump in. Davis sitting on top of the high ground. He's trying to get a little bit of damage off here. He does manage to, well, there was a trade between Oki and Dippity, but Davis still kind of working his way around. Has an opportunity to jump into the choke here, but he has to reload first. A little bit of fight going on from Billy. Really crazy. And Speedy, but no one falls, and Ether is just completely alone and not getting punished. He's just a powerhouse of damage that they're just backing off from him.
Yeah, and King's Crew again tried to push off the spawn advantage. They did have the cap there, but Dunk had a bit of a positioning, but it seemed like it was only Shiny who really wanted to go forward there. And, you know, he was kind of, there was a brief moment of danger for him, but looks like they're going to stalemate here on last. King's Crew is coming up on their Uber. And, you know, Speedy's going to pick up the defensive sniper. Again, there's no off classes. It looks like Dunk wants to get him from 1, but Speedy's going to drop in dust. They were just trying to get him from the 1. I don't know if they were going for, like, an Uber exchange or a sack or what, but he's going to go down. It looks like the flank was going for a bit of a 2-man there. Indus was trying to give them some last-second buffs, but it's going to be a +2. Uber's dropped on the floor, and King's Crew is going to hopefully try and push up this 3-man ad.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate too, because Daffodil was in a kind of an interesting spot, being able to hide, but he backed off, trying to get into a position where he can jump right now, but gets skyrocketed by a very poorly timed jump. And Dao is now finally getting to the face of Lucrative, who's getting juggled and is uneasy with all these scouts getting to his face. Deputy's now into the face of Q-Stiff, who's taking a little bit of sticky damage, but now the respawns for King's Crew are going to be able to do enough to take out Bill. Working their way to the choke. Ether very far out, and Davis on the flank going to be pulling it off at any moment here. I don't know if Indus is going to be ready for this.
He's going to jump. He's going to find the business end of the scattergun from Dippity, so he's not going to be able to commit to that one. Dippity's going to die trying to defend his medic there. Indus is down pretty weak, and with no scouts on the side of Dunk, it looks like they're going to maybe haphazardly try and hold to get some, try and get a spam force or something, but and again, they're down on their Uber. Tambo's going to jump in. He's going to get rocked by an air shot, but he's going to get the drop onto Lucrative. A nice couple clean rockets. Took a bunch of damage early, but was able to live late into that. So with the Uber on the floor, on the other side of things now, it looks like Dunk's going to try and recontest too.
The bomb coming in from Oki is going to do a lot of damage onto Indust. He's kind of antsy. 85 HP, but no one else is able to follow up quite immediately. Q-Stiff, though, doing a good job of locking down the sewer, but manages to get himself killed, trying to sticky jump away from sewer. No Demo Man means there's a lot of free reign here on this midpoint. A bomb comes in from Davis, who's managed to try and distract them long enough for Exile, who's really the playmaker here. He's going to be getting onto the second point here, and hopefully Davis can get back to the front lines and defend this mid, but no, they're just sitting all the way back. They're not even going to contest this midpoint, so I'm not really sure what Exile's going to do now that they know he's in the back lines. They kind of played their hand by trying to go for a back cap without supporting him.
Yeah, and Dunk won't know this, but nobody went back for Lucrative, so they were not healing for about another 20 seconds, so like when, you know, Lucrative's at about 15%, they're going to think they have Uber, but they won't. We're going to see the bomb in from Oki. He's not going to find the Uber for Indust. We're going to see the flank once again from the soldier in upper IT, and this looks like a scout's trying to back cap mid. It looks like Shiny's going to come back to contest. It's going to be a 1v1 here, Exile versus Shiny. Shiny's going to buy enough time to his team to get the cap, but he's going to end up losing the 1v1, and Exile's still being a nuisance in the back lines here.
I'm actually surprised because whenever you figure it out, you usually take care of it. But now Daffodil is going to be completely unaware as Exile sneaks his way back into the fray. The Uber exchange is happening over here in front of the rollout, and Ether is getting juggled perfectly. No way can Indus survive this. It's going to be a 3-for-1 with one good rocket, but somehow Indus gets away. Finally, Exile rushes through and gets the kill, but gets picked off immediately by Daffodil, who's looking super healthy in the face of Lucrative, who now has to back off here. A little bit of rotation coming up from Q-Stiff, who's backing out through the one door. Okiwaka locking down this rollout. He can't let any players get in, and thankfully they managed to hold it off, and they have a medic advantage to work with, so King's Crew going to be pushing out here at any moment.
Yeah, Dust is going to come up though, and with the spawn advantage, since they still hold the cap, Dunk may opt to try and contest this, especially with the 2 late spawns and Exile and Ed for King's Crew. And it looks like they're trying to, but they're going to get stuck out by Q-Stick. Q-Stick's coming forward with the heals. They're going to find a good amount of damage in the choke. Ather's going to die almost immediately, and with that early death out of their demo, Dunk should just give this up.
Oh, but Tippity. Okay, he sneaks out, makes his way back to the midpoint through IT, and with this Demoman-less defense coming up on mid, it's going to be tricky trying to work into Lucrative, who's pretty much open season right now. If one soldier could get a good rocket off, potentially gotten onto him, but it's just going to be Tambo falling down as the aggression comes out from Okiwaka, who's now chasing through the sewer. Going to probably be opening up the door while this Uber aggression comes out from the rest of the combo. They're going to Uber immediately, send in Q-Stiff. He's going to try and lock out Indus, but he's already through the shutter, and that's going to open up the door for at least getting a pick onto Ether, as well as Dippity here. And that'll be good enough for a push here, but there will be an Uber available to Indus, even if they go right away.
Yeah, Tambo's going to come up off the spawn, so it's just going to be Tambo and Shiny and Indust. But it looks like King's Crew's going to try and push off this 3-man ad, maybe try and get a force. They're coming to the point here. They're going to get Ubered into by Tambo and Shiny. Tambo's finding a ton of damage with this Uber. Is going to get Lucrative and Q-Stiff down with the help of Shiny. Spawns are going to come in for Dunk, and it looks like King's Crew wants to try and make a meal out of it, though. Trying to play off that extreme point type they have, and they're going to get a bunch of damage on the point. And it looks like it's just Oki who's hiding in the one door. Oh, he's going to find Ather. Ather's going to hit him with a good sticky. He's down to just 61 health, trying to play the angles. Deputy's just going to walk at him, though. Hits a nice clean one shot to take him down.
Yeah, the respawns are going to be up. All of them are going to make it except for Oki, so this is going to be really huge for them to try and mount some kind of scuffed defense if there comes out an kind of aggression from Dunkmasters. Right now, Deputy's steadying the stage, trying to walk his way through while Daffodil's setting up through sewer. He's going to be going for the first jump, following up by Tambo. They're going to wrap around, cut off this health back, and do a ton of damage into the scout and soldier. Davis in exile. So that's going to be the call to back out. And there's nothing else going on. King's Crew is just kind of going to be setting themselves up for this second hold with a huge disad.
Yeah, Dunk has about a 30% advantage to work with, and they have a scout pick. They're going to find Oki here, and Oki's going to end up killing Shiny before trading out himself. Looks like they're trying to contest here, but 3 down on the side of King's Crew. They are eventually going to get this force, but Lucrative's going to die as well. It's just the respawner of Exile, so with 5 players going down, this should be an easy second take, and maybe even a push into last or Dunk if they're quick about it.
Yeah, we've got 10 minutes left in this game. It's a 30-minute half like we discussed earlier. Not really a lot of advantage to work with here, even if they were to wait 25%. Uber, or the medic has spawned, the cap time is starting, Tambo backs off it immediately. Q-Stiff throwing in a lot of damage here at the rollout room. Either going to be picking off here a nice little Okiwaka frag, so that's going to slow down King's Crew's aggression because he's a phenomenal bomber and DM master on the soldier class. But Davis, who initiates, gets himself really low, almost goes down, but will be backing off here. And once again, the Devilman seems to be alone, almost gets taken out here by the pistols from Bill Crazy, aka Shiny, who's now aggressing into this rollout, but we'll have to back off here. Deputy also trying to poke and prod from the side, get a feel for what's going on. Here comes the Super, though.
Yeah, they have about a 25% ad, but it's actually crits on the side of Lucrative. They're going to use this forward door. There's no off-bust on the side of King's Crew other than the speedy sniper. It looks like they're going to get deep on the left side here. Lucrative's going to pop off this crit. They're going to set some cap time here, but Lucrative's going to go down immediately. 3 down on the side of King's Crew. And Dunk just took the fight of the point with, knowing that they had a small ad. You either need to pick their other team's medic to make it so they can't get their counter Uber or take the fight to the point, and they did the latter of the two and cap it out. So it's going to be a 3-1 game. Dunk's showing some shines of life now.
Yeah, and Ether hits his rollout this time around, gonna be getting an early sticky onto Q-Stiff to try and lock him out, but he gets hit instead. Both soldiers, everything about this mid so far has been a perfect mirror, but Tambo's gonna be breaking that combo and walking forward here, getting a lot of pressure onto the left side here. They immediately take out Q-Stiff, so no Demo Man to work with. They gotta try and get some control of the top end, but Daffodil's gonna fall down to these crazy scattergun shots that are tracking him perfectly. Dippy falls down, and Exile and Davis are still alive, gonna be trying to pull something out here with a little bit of help from Speedy, who's just made his way back from the sewer. Davis, though, waiting for that pack, not gonna be able to get it anytime soon here. So much high ground protects Bill Crazy getting killed here while Ether just pipes away from the low ground. Exile grabs his health pack, though. It's gonna be rotating up top, but now falls off. Looks like Tambo's trying to rotate, find the pick, he can. Exile gets piped with a nice fadeaway from Ether around the bend, and Speedy and Q-Stiff have respawned. It's a second mid-fight with Daffodil on top of Q-Stiff, throws him away. Arrow catches Daffodil as he sits up top, so he's going to be able to stay alive in this fight and support Dippity, who's now sitting on the right side, going to be getting a little bit of damage onto Oki, who manages to get 2 perfect rockets to get that frag, and Daffodil is all alone going for the medic, but Lucrative perches on the rock and survives one desperate escape plan later, and that's the end of the mid fight.
Yeah, and it looks like Indus is going to find his way out. Super late into that mid, it came down to a 3v3 with both the King's Crew scouts, and I want to say one of their soldiers versus, I want to say Ether, a soldier, and Shiny on the mid, but the King's Crew scouts did a really good job of not committing and just playing the fact that they had the hit scan advantage. And, you know, they just have to be able to see you at any sort of distance. We're going to see Tambo hiding at upper IT. He's going to go for a bomb onto Lucrative here. And, oh, nice couple rockets. Lucrative down to just 40 HP. He's going to end up hitting the frag. Tambo's going to go down for it. We're going to see some counter aggression on the other side of things, but Indus is going to come up on Zuber. And, Speedy and Q-Stiff are going to be trying to make their way out, but it looks like they're going to go down here. It looks like it's just going to be Speedy.
I hope you were on Speedy's cam as he was patiently walking right behind Dippity the entire time, and Dippity had no idea it was there. And Speedy makes, I think, the correct play of just get out of here. I don't want to die. And so he's going to be alive here at this time to play a little bit of defense onto this overly aggressive Daffodil. Called Ether out the choke is going to be putting in some good damage on Davis, who surfs his way into the rollout room, dodges a splash rocket, and will survive. Okay, also playing a little bit of defense on top of this lobby. Will be pressured out by Bill Crazy, but looking at the Ubers, it looks like Dunkmasters has an opportunity to once again push into this last and hopefully secure themselves another round.
Yep, we're going to see the Engineer coming up on a Speedy. He's going to be putting up about a level 2 by the time Dunk's able to push. Maybe even a level 3 if they wait long enough, but it's going to be level 2 in the left spawn door for the defender's perspective. And looks like everybody's grouped up around this gun. They're going to Uber in. The gun's being moved, so it's not actually a threat to anybody. They're going to take it down. Chinese trying to clear the point, and King's Crew's only about 70%. They're going to be trying to focus the frags. Oki's going to go down, but Shiny's going to go down quickly afterwards. Lucrative down to just 5 HP up in this upper area. He's going to be trying to regen some health. Ether is going to get focused on by both the scouts, and this looks like a car crash of a push coming out of Dunk here.
Yeah, not the good kind where a lot of people die. It's the bad kind where all of your team dies. And Indus is all alone with Tambo, the last beneficiary to his team at this time. But it's okay. This is not going to be the end of it. It's just going to be a setback. They've got Dippity inside of the forward spawn with a sniper out, and a very aggressive, lucrative push from IT with the Uber ready to go. They're going to be forced right out the gate. A little bit of damage comes out from Tambo, and Dippity's still playing this angle. I don't even know if anyone noticed it. He could get this shot on Lucrative if he times it just right, but Lucrative is waiting very patiently. Oh, he crosses! Oh, very close to losing it, but that's okay because there was back spawn. There was no threat to Lucrative at that time. They get the cap. Tambo doesn't get the forwards, and there's a big Uber advantage in the hands of Indus.
Yeah, Tambo had a really well-timed bomb catching Lucrative in the doorway of IT. Pushing IT is a really good doorway to avoid the forward spawn sight lines, but it's such a small doorway that it's pretty easy to get a spam force through, or if it's sticky, you basically have to use through the door. But we are going to see gearing up for a push are the Dunkmasters. Are going IT themselves. Shiny's going to be in alone, a little disconnected from Indus. It's going to end up getting through the doorway. They're going to find Q-Stiff in the Choku, who's trying to jump out. Daft's going to die, but they should get Q-Stiff as a consolation prize. And Dunk's going to just leapfrog mid. They traded a demo for a soldier, which benefits them, but King's Crew's at 90% on their Uber.
Very good desperate attempt from Davis to try and get on Indus, but he's sitting healthy. However, he's still just a little bit too far forward. They weren't keeping track of the Ubers, and Lucrative stayed alive during this entire exchange, so they were able to Uber and immediately get their frag. So this is going to be sitting in their favor as they manage to stop the mid, keep their forward spawns, and clean up 4 players. One last ditch effort from Dippity, but Exile is popping off right now. And there goes Daft. That was the actual last-ditch effort. So it's just going to be Indus and Ether trying to get set up here on second for even just a half second, maybe. No, just setting up for the shutter, stickies, and everything like that. However, a 30 ad is not its potential. If Indus does a really good job of building, which he hasn't been, he could edge out a little bit more of an advantage here before this push happens. So we'll see what unfolds.
Yeah, it's a fairly small ad, but there's still enough to push off of. But when Dunk was trying to hold mid in that leapfrog scenario, they got a really early pick onto Ed, and Oki was actually behind, and they paid way too much attention to Oki. The entire team was kind of turned around, like, waiting for him, and King's Crew just walked in from the choke completely for free, instantly caught out in dust. We're going to see a push in here from Lucrative & Co. They're going to use through the forward door here. They're going to be trying to clear the stickies on the point. Q-Stiff's going to find the gun with the super, and they're just going to get some pushing on the right side here. They're going to be trying to edge the cap. That's the scout on the point. Daft's going to come in to contest, and he's gonna go down. Tambo's gonna go down on the other side of things, but the health is really poor on the side of Kingscrew. Both their scouts are so weak. They're gonna try and leave through the lobby here. We're gonna see the counter Uber coming out of Indus, and they're gonna get trapped in the lobby. Are Q-Stiff and Lucrative. They're gonna go down. Speedy's gonna be the only survivor from the push, but Oki's actually in the upper area. He's behind. I don't know if anybody's on last. They have Dippity on that, so it's gonna come down to a 1v1. Oki versus
and there's one last effort from Tambo. And the count goes out.
Oh, Scout got him in the last two. I think Tambo actually would have traded with Oki after the fall damage, but the Scout came in to cap it out. And it's going to be 4-1. I believe it's almost garbage time here. There's 3 minutes left. Dunk has to lightning these next 3 rounds. It is mathematically possible as a speedrunner myself in this game, but it's very unlikely.
Sadly, it's unlikely. I can't even remember the last time there was an actual 60-second round. I've seen minute 30s in desperate moments, but there it is. The first frag immediately falls to Tambo as he dies, and that's going to be really rough for the rest of the Dunkmasters to try and mount some kind of offense here. But Dippity is just tracking like a champion here. Daffodil's going to fall to his death, and that will be the end of this mid-fight, much in the favor of the Dunkmasters, but they have to literally cap second and last in the next 28 seconds for me to be convinced there's a chance.
Yeah, Speedy's going to come up on the sniper. He's going to be watching the one door here. Maybe try and get a cheeky pick onto Indus like he did earlier. I think that's the first mid that Dunk has won. It's certainly the first mid that has been any sort of convincing from Dunk. And, you know, they killed Lucrative. They kept Indus alive. They did a really good job of just trading their flank for more important classes on the other side of things. So we are going to see just the sole off-class of Speedy Sniper watching the one door here. And Dunk's going to be trying to gear up the push. They're going to use through one. They're going to take Ether and Shiny here. Ether's going to jump in. Going to be trying to clear up top. Shiny's going to be walking across the point with his Uber. They're going to end on the right spawn. Indus is immediately going to go down to a counter jump from Ed. They're going to find Lucrative and Ed there. And Exile's going to go down as well. So there's just 2 up on the side of Kingscrew. And Oki's going to go down as well. It's just the Speedy here. There's 4 players. They're going to go down. There's about 1:40 left, so I do believe we are out of time for Dunk to win this. But, you know, they can get some momentum trying to go back into the next map.
Exactly. That was 1:40, which is, or no, yeah, like about 1:35. So that's about as fast as you can go that I've ever seen. So we've seen it here live. Don't think they can pull off. They could pull off one more round here. We'll see what happens as Q-Stiff immediately grabs the pack. Very fast aggression from Oki is going to instantly deck the Demoman, and Ether is out of the fight. It's going to be very tough for the rest of Dunkmasters to try and get something going here. But we do see they have kind of okay positioning. They're a little bit split right now, and Indus is resorting to his arrows as quickly as he can. Tambo initiates on the right side on top of the pack, immediately picks up Exile, and is pulling all the attention away, but no one else was walking forward. Daffodil was pulling up. You see Bill Crazy also trying to make something happen here. That was the perfect distraction from Tambo, and everyone was backing out of the fight like that was it. And Indus now trying to get on top of it. He's going for the frag. He's going for the Ubersaw.
Lucrative is gonna pop off his Uber, deny Indus have any chance of getting that saw. But yeah, Dunk like recommitted to that mid late off the bomb from Tambo. I think Tambo got all his damage, but Dunk was just so far back. By the time they actually got back into it, Tambo was already dead, and a fair amount of that damage is already healed up. And there's just 30 seconds left. It's garbage time now. It's going to be 4-2 for the Kingscrew here, unless they lightning the remainder here. But Kingscrew is going to win
the Robin Walker cheat codes and just go instant fast with no clip and try and pull off some kind of crazy 1v6.
There's 5 seconds. They do have a fair amount of cap time. Exile was in. They may get a cheeky cap out here before the time runs out. 1 second left, and it is going to be a 5-2 game. They cap it with 1 second left.
And that was another 1:30 round. Immediate response saying, hey, you guys can roll us in 1:30 and so can we. So that, I think, kind of sets a really strong precedence, the way they just pulled it off. Maybe it's because it's like the end of the game, so you do, you know, messy things. You don't really care about the stats, like Indus going for the Uber saw. I think that contributed a little bit to the 1:30 round from from Kingscrew. But either way, it's a lot of strength to be finishing off a 5-2. Like, I don't know how these qualifiers work, if they're points based off round wins, but they got the maximum. I believe
it's only based on like where you place positioning wise. I don't think the rounds actually matter. I think just the actual win does. I'm not super sure. I really haven't looked, honestly, but yeah, that was, I would say, maybe a surprising result. I expected Dunk to be a little more into it. I expected the map to go either way, but I really didn't think it would be a 5-2 scoreline for any particular team. I figured if it was going to go to 5 rounds, it'd be like a 5-3 or a 5-4. But I expected this to be a very slow game, honestly. Process tends, especially on like the 30-minute like rule set, it tends to slow down a lot because there are a lot of good sniper sight lines, and it ends up being really difficult if the scouts are sitting on high ground to deny a soldier bomb. It's really easy to deny a bombing soldier, even though you can get in really easily. So it tends to slow down a lot, but that game was really just kind of back and forth. There was like a 12-minute round kind of somewhere in the middle, once Dunk kind of stopped the roll from King's Crew, but again, I didn't expect a 5-2 scoreline.
Yeah, really strong stuff coming out from King's Crew. Like we said, with that modified roster, although Oki, just phenomenal. I need to find the stats. I know I can find them, so just give me a moment
I actually
and we'll
have
talk
them
about
pulled up. I can send them to you via Mumble.
Yes,
but
I need them.
The big thing
email
that
them
stands
to me,
out to me.
please.
Yeah, I got you. Just give me your email live on stream. But no, the big thing that stands out to me is the projectile classes from Dunk putting up some big damage numbers. The top 3 damagers on the server are in order are Tambo, Ether, and Daff. They actually Dunk actually managed to outdamage King's Crew over the course of that, but King's Crew generated 7 more frags over the course of it. So I don't know if it's an issue of focus fire or if they were just finding kind of garbage damage in the few stalemate scenarios there was. But I mean, the other thing that really stands out to me though is I feel like Shiny's normally a big name player for, Dunk teams of old and for Glove World, and he was pretty quiet this game, going 18 and 17. Especially, this is a really good map for Shiny. This is one of his better maps, and he kind of got outshined by both of the King's Crew scouts, who had 28 and 26 frags respectively.
Yeah, Speed and Exile definitely setting themselves very much ahead of the curve with those stat lines, not dying very often, almost 2-1 KDs between them. So very good stuff coming out from the scouts, who are also the pickups. Like I said, we don't know. With the way the qualifiers work, you're locked in with the 4, and the main King's Crew are the guys who have the avatars, Q-Stiff, Oki, Lucrative. I still don't know who Davis is. I don't know why.
That is Ed.
Ed. KJ Quad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ed. So anyway, Ed. So we have all these players that are like the standard King's Crew roster, and it's just a matter of are Speedy and Exile going to be like the people that they're doing with because they need someone for the qualifiers, or because these are like they're planning to go to land for this. And so if this is the kind of scouts that they're gonna be pulling up, that's actually gonna be really big for them because like I said, these stats are incredible. Imagine on land.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at the overall result too, I think this bodes really well for King's Crew. I feel like they're a very momentum-based team. I think both these teams have players that ending on like a round win, and like I feel like there's players on both these teams that have they're very affected by the game. They're very emotional players. So if they come in expecting to win and they lose rounds fast, I feel like that affects both these teams. So I'm actually pretty interested to see what happens on map 2 because King's Crew did win that last round with 2, maybe 1 second left on the clock, and I'm interested to see how that transitions to map 2, which is going to be Sunshine.
Yeah, kind of like the the spiritual successor to Process. I don't know what to call it. It feels like a carbon copy of Process every time I look at it. You've got this mid with giant tall buildings. The way the rotation works on mid kind of feels like the same. The cafe is sewer. The valley is IT. Like, it's all very similar to me. It's just a slightly different last.
It does play fairly similarly, but is a little more soldier friendly, as we are going to be going into our second map here, which is Sunshine. For anybody who missed it, the first map was a 5-2 for King's Crew. I'm going to be watching Ether on this first mid, who's a little faster than his opposition of Q-Stiff here, who opted to roll out for a valley. Ether's going to find a good amount of damage early in the choke point to King's Crew, who are kind of just hanging out by their choke. Dunk's going to commit to a right side mid, and it looks like King's Crew's going to match them. We're going to see a high bomb out of Ed, trying to find his way onto Indus, going to find a first good rocket. Ether's going to go down, Indus is going to go down. Both the soldier bombs finding their targets on that one for King's Crew. It looks like Dunk's trying to win out the DM fight though, just trying to make it messy. 2 scouts with heals versus Tambo and Co, and they're actually going to win it out. Tambo with a huge late bomb. Going to take down Exile and Lucrative. Is going to be a mid-win here for Dunk.
Control point is being contested.
Yeah, when you're playing the defensive scout and you've got 2 in front of you and you're trying desperately to make sure that these scouts don't rush forward, you're wasting your shots, chipping away at them. Tambo found the perfect opportunity to get in there just by complete accident. Not accident, but like the fact that these scouts were so overwhelmed with dealing with the other scouts. They had nothing in the chamber to deal with this Tambo bomb, which got its mark. Very good lead now for Indust. Only 20% actually, Uber-wise, but they're holding on to mid, and that's definitely more than enough to try to make something happen here, but that's not going to stop Ed, who's immediately onto Indust, and he's all alone. A good surf couple of rockets, though, trying to hit that one last direct, but it's not going to work out for him. Indust, though, going to get caught out here because he's a little bit too committed to staying on that little balcony. Almost got caught out there. And so it's up to Q-Stiff and Speedy, who are sitting on the mid, and a little bit of Ed making his way back to the point. They're going to recap and shorten that gap of Ubers, so it's basically even now.
Yeah, and King's Crew kind of strong-armed their way into mid there, and they were able to get a trade of 3 frags for 2, which ended up benefiting them really hard. Tambo's sitting in the forward spawn here. I don't know if there's any particular reason for that, but Tambo was just hanging out in his own team's forward spawn despite the fact that it is even Ubers. Exile's going to come up on the spy. I don't know if it's going to work again, just because it happened the one time. We're going to see Ed bomb in from the choke here, just trying to make some space for his team. They're trying to find any sort of spam damage. They're trying to distract for Exile, who was in, but Indus is only escaped the single revolver shot.
There it is. A lot of aggression coming out from the scout, who might get caught out. Tambo also tried to initiate here. Ton of damage on the Lucrative. He's just taking all these chip shots. Pulls out the amputator to try and get a little bit of quick regen. Let's pull it off there. He will be alive. So that desperate play kind of didn't really pull anything off in the end. Exile's back up. He's going to be getting to this mid. Little jump comes out from Okiwaka, who manages to get directly into the Lighthouse sticky trap. Deals with that very easily, and now another counterplay coming out here at any moment. Daffodil getting through on top of the bell tower, wraps himself all the way to Lucrative. One air shot can do it, but he will not be landing that today.
Yeah, he wasn't alive long enough to quite get that air shot off. He did have a pretty decent juggle on the Lucrative. He kind of had him straight up a little bit, but you know, if it was in terms of air shots, it's not the hardest one to hit. It wasn't a super Lord tier surf, but Lucrative's gonna hold on to this Uber for this time, and we should see another play coming out of King's Crew here, seeing as they do hold the mid. Probably just going to see another Oki bomb here. Sunshine's pretty hard to bomb in as a soldier because you can hold so far back. We're going to see the fake out of Oki, though. Oki's going to jump in. Indus is going to be in the shutter. Oh, he's going to drop to a pipe from Q-Stiff. Q-Stiff was in the valley area spamming, and the soldier got in, found a decent rocket onto him, and ate a pipe at the same time, and that's going to be an Uber on the floor once again for Indus.
That was actually insane. I thought they were pulling some kind of triple play where they got Ed in, then Oki in, then Ed was back in again, but like you said, knocking Indust right into the hands of Houston to get that frag, and now with nothing to defend, it looks like King's Crew is going to be pulling off another second. They pull it off, get the Uber in, they're chasing through lobby, trying to get onto the sentry, which goes down immediately. Second is still waiting to be capped here. The respawns are up though. A couple players in. Indus down to 1 HP. Trying to get it all onto Ether, who's a powerhouse on his own. Respawn comes up from Dippity, but it's a little bit late. The rest of the King's Crew has bullied their way through and managed to get a very crucial first round.
Yeah, that was a really good play for King's Crew. They were able to just kind of walk it into second. They were able to pick off any of the stragglers from Dunk. They picked up, I want to say, Dippity, and then they were able to transition that into a really good Uber into lobby where they were able to get Daff and all of the space. They were on the point when their Uber ended. And we are going to be going into our second mid with the first round going to King's Crew.
A quick bomb from Tambo goes into the valley, kind of pulls a couple players behind, so King's Crew is kind of getting locked out here, but Okiwaka is ready to punish. He's got them trapped behind this Tetris, but he goes down pretty quickly. Took a lot of damage there. Looks like the rest of King's Crew are trying to decide how they want to play this DM fest. Q-Stiff, though, getting a nice little pick onto Bill Crazy, and Ether, who's waiting very patiently inside of it. Might get caught out here by Ed, who's blocking him out, and there's the end. Lucrative picks up Indust, and the lockout happens at the choke, so it's going to be up to Dippity to try and pull off one last ditch effort with Ether waiting inside Cafe. I don't even know if they are aware of it. He does give away his position at that moment. There goes Dippity, rushes in, and Ether has no opportunity to do anything. Q-Stiff picks off that frag, and Tambo is in an interesting position but decides to back off. Won't be going in. Mid to King's Crew.
Yeah, I would say Ed was in the Dunk Valley for a fair amount of that mid, and they had him pretty singled out, and he was on pretty low HP, but they kind of just forgot about him. He got like 120 damage into Indust, and Indust had to surf away, and it kind of forced Dunk into like a really awkward position. And the King's Crew was able to just stay grouped up. It's going to be Uber Ad here for Lucrative and Co. They're putting up a haphazard lobby hold, but they aren't capping, so they are finally going to start the cap. Indust is at about 50%. We're going to see a pretty standard sniper NG defense here with the gun on the right side. And the sniper watching, I think he's watching the left. Yeah, he is watching the top left. And Dunk is actually about 70% here, so it's only about 10 seconds to work with for the side of King's Crew. They're going to get Tambo as a frag, and they're going to trade out for Oki. Daff's going to die as well. They're trying to clear the stickies on the point. They are going to lose Exile for that, going down to the pipe. And it looks like they're going to win out the DM fight on last. Our Dunk with their player ad here with only losing their soldiers.
Very good pickup there on defense. Dippity also being on heavy, staying alive at the post Uber. Looks like the rest of the Dunk Masters have got themselves on second. They've got their Uber, they've got their numbers, and they're gonna be working their way in here at any moment. They're opting to go for the cafe route, getting Tambo through the flank. Daff meets up with them. They're going through. The spam is coming in really hard though, and Speedy on Sniper has the angle. He could get the shot, misses. Unfortunately, but Uber gets hopped off right away. Nidus is going to be getting his players in. They're going to be locking out this choke, but no one is there. So all they've really done is Uber to get the ground, and they've gotten only one kill, and that was Speedy. Oki might get taken down
but
here.
Oki's going to die as well. Yeah, they're going to get a couple frags. Tambo's going to bomb into the choke, trying to hold King's Crew back, and he's going to go down, but it should be a mid here for Dunk. The health on King's Crew is actually pretty low, and a few players there down to about half HP, but it should kind of stabilize. It is a 4v4. King's Crew is actually getting their forward spawns, and they're going to try and push into Dunk here. They're coming in from the valley. They have their Uber. They're just going to strong arm. Dunk's going to run away, fearing that Uber charge, and they're going to chase through the cafe side here. King's Crew is really quickly. It's just going to be Exile and Lucrative in on 2. They're going to meet up with their boy Ed. They're going to get all the space on 2, and Dunk just has to give this up. They're at about 80%. They're pretty close to their Uber, but they are going to be relegated to their own last here.
That exchange between Tambo and Exile is going to kind of set things more in favor of the offensive team. More numbers to work in, and Ether, once again, I saw this earlier in the game. He was so far forward. This time he got punished for it. The counter Uber, though, is much later, so it's going to give him a little more ground to work with, but it's actually a full rotation, and there's no players who are Ubered on the right side as they push it to last, so they're going to be getting all these frags. Tambo, who's on the respawn here, going to be trying to get a little bit of damage onto Ed, who manages to sneak his way out with a nice little cheeky direct, and they're just setting up. They're on top of this balcony, waiting very patiently, getting their stickies reloaded. Q-Stiff locking out that side of the point here. Looks like it's going to be really tough, but the respawn is up. Ether is right on top of him. Finally gets the frag, but Oki is locked onto the point. Gets the pick, but Dippity is not giving it up. He's sitting on the point. Cap goes to King's Crew.
Yeah, and King's Crew did a really, really good job there. Just they took that exchange, they got all the positioning on the top right, while Dunk wasn't able to, reposition themselves accordingly, trying to find anything with their better Uber, and then they just played the high ground there, and Dunk, knowing that they kind of were out of position, or like they had a positioning disadvantage, tried to push onto the high ground, but King's Crew just strong-armed their positioning and were able to win out that last fight. It's going to be 2-0 for them.
Ed is sitting on top of this bell tower immediately. It's a good shot on Daffodil. He might go down here. Does fall. The counter aggression comes in through this valley, but it's kind of been a mulching season for Q-Stiff, who was like, "Oh, you guys are gonna go into your valley? Our valley? Let's not let you do that." And 1, 2, 3 stickies pick off the frags.
Yeah, Tambo's gonna be a straggler here in the mid. He's just gonna be trying to find his way out. And he might get picked. He's down to about 40 HP. He's going to make it out, it looks like. And but no, that was a really good mid from King's Crew. They had Oki roll out their own valley and kind of bait there for a few seconds when Dunk rotated right into him. He was able to bomb straight onto Indus, and he was one of the first deaths in the mid. And Ed was able to create a ton of damage as well as we go to a pause.
We're seeing some echoes of the past here, ESCA style. We got a pause here going on right as someone's about to push into last with full Uber ad. Now, I'm not a suspicious man, I'm not very superstitious, but I'm willing to bet something happens in this last push that involves a disconnect. I doubt it's a tactical pause.
We could go ask the team. They are in the Mumble channel just below us, but we kind of that'd be rude to do. We'll leave them to their own privacy, leave them alone. Now we're gonna see a pretty quick unpause here. We're gonna see a pretty standard defense for Dunk. They have a heavy on the left side here, and the gun going up on the right, and big Uber Ed here for Lucrative and Co. They're gonna be gearing up in lobby. They're peeking on the left side, seeing if they can find any information, but the soldiers there just try and deny them that space. And King's Crew, looks like they're going to opt to go underneath. They're going to bring in Q-Stiff here. They're going to find the gun. They're going to get that. They're going to try and throw the stickies on the point here, but they aren't going to find a ton else. Q-Stiff's going to be pushing into the heavy. He's going to find a ton of damage into Dippity. Dippity's going to go down here. And they have a scout trying to bait on the point, but a huge bomb out of Tambo is going to take down Lucrative and Q-Stiff. Tambo's going to die off the back of that one. Daff also picking up too. The soldiers coming up huge on the defense here for Dunk.
Yeah, Speedy, the only living survivor, makes his way all the way back to mid to report what happened on the battlefield. The respawns are up. They do have their heals at least kind of getting underway. Indust at 100% Uber. Looks like they're going to be arriving second for free, which is a very nice consolation prize when you have your Uber. So they're going to be working their way into mid here, try and get some ground without forcing. They don't have to worry about a sniper at this time, but they are aware that Speedy could have done it.
Yeah, and we are going to see Dunk trying to push in from the valley side of things here. They're going to have a soldier bomb in, trying to find some spades. Deputy's going to find a nice early pick onto Ed. Q-Stiff's going to trade out Tambo on the other side of things, and it looks like Oki's not quite caught in the mid. Had a couple players looking at him, but he was still pretty healthy. He's going to have to make his way out. Looks like Kingscrew's bought a fair amount of time on this mid. They're at about 75%, and Dunk's going to opt to try and stack, and Kingscrew's going to come up on the Uber, and that's where the pause happened, was after that mid push.
I wonder if that pause enabled Lucrative to get his Uber, or his Kritzkrieg actually. That's less likely. They probably were building it up. So we got Daffodil jumping in, trying to get a little bit of ground here. Follow-up from Deputy, who's managed to sneak his way past all of the enemy lines, pulling so many players behind. There's a lot of open ground here, but they're not going to be taking advantage of it. He's so far committed in this back line. He's getting into the face of Speedy, who's rotated into the dungeon. And still, the pressure is coming on from Daffodil, trying to peek his way in through Cafe. Deputy back and forth, back and forth. It's so hard to know where the next fight's going to be taking place here. But I do see that Daffodil managed to get killed off here by Q-Stiff. So now, Deputy is the last thing they need, the last piece to this puzzle, and then go for a cheeky crits play.
Yeah, Deputy is just trying to find any sort of advantage 1v1 he can take, but it looks like there's 3 players back. He's actually going to take down Speedy, despite the fact that there were 3 players on last to try and fight him. And, you know, off the distraction made by Daff, you know, or I'm sorry, off the pick that they had on Daff, they went back and they wanted to clean up the kill on the Deputy, you know, just get him off there. We're gonna see the crits in from Choke. Q-Stiff is gonna claim Shiny, and that's all they're really gonna find with this, and it's gonna give a huge Uber to Dunk, who are gonna be Ubering in the choke point. They have no scout in this Uber, so it's gonna be really difficult for them to chase. Tambo's gonna bomb in and take down Lucrative, and Ed's gonna go down to Deputy. We're gonna see a really high bomb in from Oki, who's gonna get in onto Indust, only gonna find about 50 damage there, and looks like Dunk is just gonna be storming into 2 here, taking it relatively for free.
Yeah, this is really good because coming off the end of that, they managed to get off Lucrative. They have themselves a 40 ad, but they want to push with just the number advantage alone. They're going to instantly take down the sentry gun, try and keep some pressure on, but with Q-Stiff being alive and Ether, once again, a little bit overextended, they're going to be able to lose every possibility they had to push here. And that actually, with the Demoman being down, there's a lot of freedom to just kind of work their way in through the shutter. They're going right away, no stickies to worry about. They got some players also coming in through the top. Ed gets juggled very roughly outside of the battlements here. Looks like Indust and the rest of the crew are backing out to Cafe. They're going to get their Uber. They got to get back in there instantly, or it's going to look really bad.
Kingscrew is so close here. Shiny's going to get a really good Uber. They're all super close. Lucrative with a really good surf out is going to find his way onto Bats. Ether's going to get a pick onto Exile, and Ed gonna take down 2, trading 2 for 2 here. Kingscrew's about 70% on their charge, but they don't have it quite yet. They're gonna try and fight this, but Dunk does have the spawn advantage. But Dunk can get their spawns in around the time that Kingscrew can get the Uber. They can maybe try and find a force or something. They're gonna focus on Q-Stiff. After's gonna get the points for that one. Q-Stiff and being down here is not gonna be good. They're gonna pop off their Uber on the other side of things. Oki's gonna claim 2 early frags, and Ed's gonna, you know, meet up with his boys. They're gonna be trying to roll this through Cafe as Kingscrew off the back of those 2 picks.
Very good bomb from Okiwaka, kind of putting Indust in a rough position. He does manage to casually saunter off to the side and survive, but Ed is on him, and there's no surviving that. He gets 2 clean rockets there to pick it off, and the rest of the King's crew has pretty much every frag advantage they need. Exile, though, all alone is going to get picked off here by poor Lucrative all alone, but Q-Stiff wrapped around at the perfect opportunity to get the frag here, but they're going to be overwhelmed here. There's no way they can get out of this, and that's going to be a nice pickup for the Dunk Masters. 20-second respawn for Lucrative. This is going to be all but theirs, as long as they play it safe and get their Uber.
Yeah, and Dunk should be able to build up a pretty good ad with Indus spawning. They should have about 15 seconds worth of ad here if they, you know, they build, and they could probably get this up to about 35%, which is very pushable. Speedy's going to come up on the Engineer, knowing that they're going to have that Uber dis ad, and Exile's going to be on that sniper roll.
Building away. Indus 50%, 30 ad to work with, and Tambo falls down to Exile, the defensive sniper, who's managed to rattle a little bit of the cage that is in the Dunk Masters court. I'm going for a lot of metaphors here, Nick. Just bear with me.
Yeah, and we're going to see the spawn up from Tambo. It looks like he's going to maybe have to come into this fight late, as Indus is at about 90% here. They're gearing up. It looks like they're going to try and go to top right from their perspective. They're actually going to pull a rotate lower here, so Shiny and Ether are going to be taking this one in from lower. They're going to find the gun on the side of the point. It's going to go down pretty quick here, just to level 2. And it looks like the Uber is going to end on the left side. Tambo's going to be the first one to die here, and Ether's going to go down. Kingster got their Uber, and they're going to just claim all the frags from an overcommitted Dunk. Dunk didn't take the, you know, they weren't able to get on the lucrative because he was so far back and they didn't play the point. And as I was saying earlier, when you have a small advantage, you either just need to pick the medic or get on the point. Deputy peeking up on the bottom right, see if he can make his way into last. He's gonna find himself in a 1v1 with the other scout here, but Deputy's just gonna run back to his team on mid.
Yeah, I was really thinking he had like found the perfect little opening where no one was checking lower lobby. It would have made his escape, but didn't work out for him. There's a ton of stickies there. Slowing down the push. Kingscrew, though, is going to make their way into mid. 4-3 here, which is not good. They wanted to try and get a little bit of a disrupt going on, but instead, now there's going to be a full Uber in the hands of Kingscrew. But it's getting thinner and thinner by the second. Indust is not too far behind and is intentionally building, so we'll see what this cafe push does for the Kingscrew.
Yeah, they have about a soft 25% ad here, maybe even just 20. They're going to Uber in. Q-Stiff on the cafe side of things are going to be bombing in, looking for Indust. Indust is going to put the shadow over between Kingscrew and him. It's going to close. Shiny's not going to be so lucky, not going to find his way out. And with Indust at 90%, Kingscrew does not have this cap. I'm surprised Indust and Co aren't a little closer trying to find the frags. Aether's going to go down to Ed, and they're going to get Speedy as well. Exile's into last. He's going to kill Dippity, and Indust is at 97%. He's going to go down. Oh, that was so unfortunate for Dunk there. Kingscrew, you know, getting Indust before he can get that Uber, and was just Shiny up on the respawn. It's going to be him versus the world for another 3 seconds. Kingscrew's just going to get on the point. They're going to focus down Shiny, and they're going to make this 3. It's all going to off a lot like how Process was here, Ro.
Yeah, and I have a broken HUD, so I don't even know how much time is left. I'm going to quickly
Got
open
about
the
13
stream.
minutes
12 minutes, 13 minutes, yeah.
So, we are going to be going into our 4th mid here. Kingscrew has been doing a pretty good job on these mid. We're going to see a fast bomb out of one of the soldiers here in Dunk, going to be in the bell tower, trying to get some early spam. Going to get some decent spam on the other team's scouts. It's going to be Daft who's going to pogo out, get a pack here. And again, Kingscrew is super tentative. They're playing really passive in their choke, but they're going to bait in Tambo. Tambo's going to go down really quickly. Ed's going to go down on the other side of things. Daft's going to trade out with Exile, and it looks like Dunk's going to win this mid on the positioning. Kingscrew was super fast at that mid. Q-Stiff is pressuring from the cafe side of things. He's going to go down to Ether. And it looks like Oki's going to try and bomb in, trying to find his way onto Indust. He's only going to find Ether, but he's not even going to get that. And he's going to get pistoled down by the scouts and break his leg. He's trying to leave the mid.
Yeah, they fall down, but Lucrative survived, has a little bit of presence here on second. Ether jumps ahead, locks them out. So that's going to be at least their cap onto second. I don't think they're going to be able to contest it, especially with Exile, who's sitting very patiently in this back lobby trying to get any unsuspecting players like Shiny. Manages to duck under the shot. Too fast for the bullet. Makes his way around, and now Exile once again. They got to do something about this. Like, Dippity is between a rock and a hard place. He has to go through dungeon if he wants to get out, and the pressure is on with Q-Stiff playing defense very close with Exile. It's going to be very hard to punish him. So Exile's just going to try and get the shots off, but he's so low on health. One little sticky could be the end of his life there, and a nice bomb from Daffodil is going to get so much damage onto Okiwaka, who survives. So not much going in the way of openings.
Yeah, we are going to see the Uber stalemate once again. Again, this is looking a lot like how Process was, but even less time. Oki's going to trade out with Kimbo, but Exile peeking up from the bats is going to get about 120 damage body shot in. But we're actually going to see maybe a back cap here. Dippity gets so much cap time into last, and he's even going to trade out the, or I'm sorry, that was Exile going down. I thought that was Dippity getting a frag because the kill feed lit up, but a really good play coming out of Dippity there, trying to get on the last. We're going to draw all of Kingscrew back, but again, it's just going to reset with both teams holding on to their Ubers here. Looks like Dunk's going to go for a bit of an exchange here on the top right side. Their Uber's almost all the way over, and by the time Lucrative Goon has to pop, Ed's not going to be in a position to quite chase Indust out. They are going to get Ether, but they aren't going to find much else. Exile and Co are going to be pressuring into lobby. Tambo's going to go down with 2 splash glasses down, and Daft not even on that great of HP. It's going to be a really good opportunity. Q-Stiff's going to claim that one, so it's just the scouts here for Dunk with a lot of work in a 3v5 here.
They have their work cut out for them if they try and make it to this point here, especially with the room itself inside of the lighthouse. It's just a death trap, so they got to work themselves all the way around it, and with Q-Stiff just locking it down with so many pipes, so many stickies, he can be a menace around these corners, but he hasn't hit anything. And so every single player on the side of Dunk Masters has survived this scrappy little fight and is now making their way to the lobby here. They got a really fast, aggressive push into the left with 20% to go for Uber. If they commit to this fight here, they could get it in the middle of the fight. And that'll be
They're going to find
picking up Q-Stiff. It's going to be really big for them.
Get a couple frags, but it's going to be a 4v3 on last. Lucrative doesn't have his Ubers, about 10 seconds away from getting it. Exile and Co are going to try and get on the point and contest, but going to find the stickies and pipes from Ether, and it's just going to be Dunk grouping on the point. They are going to get their first round on Sunshine.
That was excellent stuff for them, committing to that fight, getting that early pick onto the demo man. I mean, we see this so often. These demo men are just a little bit too far forward in some of these circumstances and get themselves caught out. If they can find a happy medium where they can play back a little bit, you could avoid those kind of losses where the demo dies very early in the fight and then it's just an instant win. Meanwhile, this next mid, Q-Stiff getting a little bit more damage onto E3. He's waiting patiently for that arrow, works his way on top of the Tetris to try and play the high ground as the Daffodil wraps to the valley. Looks like really nice bomb coming out from Okiwaka, going to immediately pick off Shiny with a nice direct rocket, and follow-up from Ed is also going to lock down this Tetris. There is no survivor whatsoever, and it's down to everyone dying. Lucrative did fall, but 4 kills, or 4 players still alive, is a huge trade-off to take mid and second for free.
Yeah, Dunk is, they're playing pretty aggressive on the right side, and Kingscrew's kind of just playing a really passive mid, sitting by kind of like the stairs of their cafe and by choke, and they're doing a really good job of just absorbing the aggression from Dunk and making it so their soldier bombs don't get anything. But Ed's going to get in and get Indus on last, so what was going to be an even Uber scenario here is actually going to turn into a massive advantage for Lucrative, who's already at 30%, has another 15 seconds to continue building.
Indus still hasn't spawned. What is this crazy wave I'm seeing?
And we're going to see the crits in here for Kingscrew. They're at about 70% here. Indus is finally going to spawn up, but you know, they're going to have a very large disadvantage to be dealing with. It looks like they're probably going to go from the top right, try and play the positioning, because crits does not make you invulnerable, but they're going to be gearing up. Q-Stiff is the man of the hour here. He's going to be picking up on the left side. He's going to see the beam there. He's going to crits into the left. He's going to find a ton of damage into Ether and the soldier there. I'm sorry, the heavy there. And they're going to be bombing into last. They are going to get Tambo and Ether with that crits. They aren't going to find a ton else, but they have all of the space into last. Oki's going to get in on the top right, drawing a bunch of eyes, and Kingscrew's going to re-aggress here. They're going to get on the point, and it's going to be 4-1 here.
Not looking good for Dunk Masters, especially with the time being a huge factor here. 7 minutes to go at this next mid. Who do you think is going to be turning the tide for it? At least giving some kind of semblance of hope here.
Dunk needs to try and figure out these mids, because they have had a couple good mid fights, but for the most part, like, they really have been unsuccessful in with their aggression, whereas Kingscrew's just been playing the passive mid and just eating Dunk when they try and go forward. I'm gonna say a really big bomb out of Daff and Tambo. They're gonna be beating the soldiers up in the air. Hoki and Daff are both gonna go for the air shot and miss it. Indus and Ethel are gonna go down in exchange for all of the heavy classes on the side of Kingscrew. It looks like Luca is gonna get singled out by both the scouts. Exile's gonna pick up Tambo, but Deputy's gonna run back and claim that one. It's gonna be a mid for Dunk.
This is actually a really good start for them. I could see 3 rounds in 7 minutes. I fully believe mathematically that can happen. And we'll see how they make it happen. No, it can. 2 minutes each.
I'm saying it can, yeah.
Oh, I thought you said can't. I literally, like, the ears in my head heard a T. I don't know why. Q-Stiff, though, getting aggressive here in the shutter. Gonna try and hold off a little bit of this cap time while the bomb comes in. It's Ed with the shotgun. Trying to put on his, what's his face pants? Wow, I can't even think of his name. I'm bringing shame to him. What's his name? Oh,
I don't know, but doing his best Yamps impression, who's I think the most notable shotgun user
it's the
in
other
the current
guy.
day and age.
The guy who plays demo. Yeah, Sagai.
There we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna see a small advantage here for Indus, and Kingscrew was able to successfully defend their second. We're gonna see Ed bomb into the bell tower, claims the shotgun frag on the dash before going down himself. Exile's gonna get Ether, so with 2 down here, but they do have a small Uber advantage. Dunk could try and contest. They do know players are on the point, but it looks like they're gonna back up here and just concede the mid.
We have lost the control point.
This is looking really good for Kingscrew. They own the mid. They have their Uber. It's all in the hands of the Dunk Masters to try and make any kind of openings here if they want to try and pull off a quick 4-4 kind of a match tie to turn it to golden cap here to give themselves a chance in this qualifier. I don't know what happens if they lose here. Is it like a tournament setup?
It is basically a tournament setup where it is a double elimination bracket, and every match is a best of 3 other than the final. But this is one of the issues with this format, is that it's really easy to play the time, and Kingscrew having a 3-round advantage and only 5 minutes left, I almost guarantee that's what's going to happen. They're going to take a bunch of low-risk plays. They're just going to keep throwing maybe Oki, maybe Ed in, but they aren't going to take anything too crazy. It looks like Dunk's going to try and take an Uber exchange. Their Uber's going to be almost entirely over before Lucrative even has to use, but they're actually going to get every single frag in this mid. They are going to get a force here too, so with just Speedy and Lucrative hanging out on second, it looks like it's going to be a mid here for Dunk. And I mean, they really need to get this ball rolling if they want to try and contest. Oki was in the backline, is going to bomb back in as they come back in. Tambo's going to go down with some nice clean rockets from Oki. They're going to get in onto Indus underneath the point. Speedy's going to claim that frag. Dipity's going to pay for it, but you know, damage is done. Speedy has found the Dunk medic, and looks like as quickly as Dunk claimed that mid, they are going to be having to give it up. The fact that they have no heal.
Especially with the fact that Lucrative was in the enemy team's choke, rotating back and wasn't able to get punished because the team was just a little bit too scatterbrained. Duckmasters didn't know who to look for, who to defend against, and the bombs were coming in, the other players, the respawns were coming in, and that kind of pulled their attention away from Lucrative, so he was able to kind of stay alive in all of this and will now have a significant Uber advantage while they're playing this defense at the choke. You see a bomb from Okiwaka going to put a ton of damage to Ether, who's once again kind of not being looked at. Not really good for them. Q-Stiff, though, takes a wonderful arrow before trading off with Daffodil there, but we'll see what Kingscrew can put together with just a double scout Uber.
And Indus is going to go down again. Dunk trying to make some things happen. They did try push into 2. They are going to get this cap, but and they actually did find a force on the Lucrative, so it's going to be roughly even Ubers with Indus spawning right now. And they got to try and make things happen, though. There is 3 minutes and 20 seconds left, and they are still down 3 rounds. It is doable if they were to snowball this in the next, 30 seconds or so. But again, it's going to be really difficult. They're in the same position they were in on Process, and I'm not super confident they can do this. They are going to get aggressive in the lobby. They're going to claim the kill onto Q-Stiff, but they're going to lose 3 for it. They're going to get the Constellation Frag onto Exile, and we got Ether taunting there. I'm not sure if this spells the end for them, because the time is pretty dire, but we are going to see Kingscrew pushing into their second, and Tambo on the prowl in the valley.
They're trying to put in one last sticky pipe combo, not going to be able to get it. Ed is going to survive, and Tambo trying to get an opportunity here to jump onto the point here. Daffodil will be falling up from Cafe if there was any potential for that, but Ed whips out the shotgun and Tambo immediately turns tail, wraps around back to the choke. So we'll see what happens with this Cafe push. Full Uber in their hands. They're going to be using it right away, getting the frag onto Tambo here. They're going to be rushing in, pick up Shiny, pick up Daffodil. It's all down to Indust and Dippity trying to pull off a back cap, which is not going to work without any help. But they managed to pull a lot of players back.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a fruitless attempt. With just 2 minutes left, I'm fairly certain it's mathematically impossible, assuming that Kingscrew still have their keyboards plugged in their PCs for Tadonk to win this. But again, they're in the same position they were in the last map, where they could close it out here with little to no time left and get that 5 rounds. And we are going to see some contention here in the choke point. Ed's going to be battling it out with Dippity. Dippity's going to lose that one. Ed on just 12 HP. And Tambo's going to find the frag there. And it looks like Dunk is just going for some crazy aggressive plays. They're going to trade out a bunch of frags. It's going to end up being a 1v1 on the mid. It'll be Oki versus Tambo, or I'm sorry, Oki versus Daff. And Daff's going to win out that one. And Tambo's going to come into mid to join his soldier counterpart. But with just a minute and a half left, we're going to see some shenanigans, most likely, with Speedy on Sniper being the first.
Yeah, and Tambo's trying to roam his way into the face of Q-Stiff. A couple good rockets will send him flying, but it won't get the frag. Not sure how much time is left, but it's definitely winding down, and it looks like Kingscrew Exile trying to make his way in. Cafe is completely flooded right now. I'm curious to see how this push is going to go. They're going to be aggressive right away. Quick bomb from Ed is going to get on top of the point here, pull a little bit of players here and there, but Tambo got a perfect bomb onto Lucrative right outside the Cafe entrance, and that's going to get their frag, but it's just Shiny and Indus. They're not going to be able to pull anything off against 5 enemy players, even with all the heals they have. There it is, yeah. Oki though, super fast, lands on top of the battlements, but does not survive.
Shiny's gonna focus him down, get pad his stats a little bit, and there's just 30 seconds left. It looks like the Q-Stiff going for a cheeky spawn camp here. Got a few forwards here for Dunkmaster. Tambo's gonna back spawn anyways, despite the fact that stickies were clear. But Ed's just gonna bomb in, find a nice shotgun onto Indus, but him and Speedy are gonna die for that. But once again, there's just 20 seconds left. Exile's gonna kill Daff. There's gonna be a chaosing. We're gonna see some taunts coming out. After's gonna punish the taunting Exile before finding a Lucrative. Lucrative's going for the amputator frag, but it's gonna get pistoled down by Shiny. And just 5 seconds left. We see the Oki spy looking for any revolver frag. Is he gonna get onto Ether? But oh, Ether with a nice 2-pipe. Gonna take him down. It's gonna be 4-1 here for Kingscrew.
And that'll be 4-1.
So we are gonna see Kingscrew taking the series 2-0. It's a pretty close Sunshine match, I want to say. I mean, Dunk was in it for a lot of that, but they just really couldn't pull it together in a lot of these in a lot of these scenarios. They had a lot of really good opportunities, and they were close to making them work. They had a couple pretty close lash busses, but they weren't able to really, secure the deal.
Yeah, the first game felt like Dunk was in contention for it for like 80-90% of the match. Whereas this one, it was a slow burn. At the early start, they were in it, and then by like, the 15-minute mark, it was looking kind of bleak.
Yeah, I mean, on both maps, they went down 3-0 to start it, which it's always hard to come back when, you can only drop 2 more rounds. And especially, too, at, with just 15 minutes left, King's Crew can, with 3 rounds up, really has no obligation to try and push because they can just hold a point for, 9-10 minutes even and not even care because they go into another mid fight with just 5 minutes left, still being up 3-0. Like, they don't care. It's so hard for Dunk to try and roll it back, and it forces a lot of weird scenarios. Like, they took an Uber exchange into mid that, I mean, they had to do it. They had to try and make something happen if they don't want King's Crew to just run down the time, but it ended up being much, much better for King's Crew in terms of the exchange. But breaking into the stats here, the huge one that stands out to me is Indus had 19 deaths on Sunshine.
Yeah, that's not very good.
Yeah,
a lot of disconnect from the rest of his team.
I'm not sure exactly where the disconnect was. It looks like Shiny had a better game here on Sunshine. He went 27 for 16. So, like I said, he is a bigger player for both these teams. He was probably my player to watch on Dunk last season in ESEA. And I wouldn't necessarily say he's the player to watch on Glove World, but he is a very strong player for them playing Combo Scout. He did show up this game versus Process. Process, he had kind of a slow game, but again, Indus had 19 deaths, and I don't really know where the fault was. I don't know if just King's Crew was just absolutely beasting out, or if the soldiers were just getting disconnected, and the worst scenarios here for King's Crew, or I'm sorry, for Dunk, and just letting King's Crew walk all over Indus, but 19 deaths is a lot.
It is very significant, and especially when you have the comparison that you can look at, that's nearly twice as many deaths as Lucrative, sitting on 10 alone, and that's just too big of a valley to cross, I think, when it comes to the way the match plays out. If we look at the Uber situation as well, there were several rounds in that game where Indus didn't get any Ubers off at all. It was just a quick one. The first game was really bad. Even though it was a 4-minute round, there were 0 Ubers on the side of Indus. Although, to be fair, Lucrative only had 1 Uber for that 4-minute round, so that was at least a little bit back and forth. But in every single round, except for the round that Indus won, or that Dunk Masters won, there was a huge Uber disparity between Indus and Lucrative.
Yeah, and the other thing that stands out to me too in the stats is, especially too here on Sunshine, it looks like the soldiers kind of slowed down in terms of Dunk. Like on the first map on Process, they were putting in pretty big damage numbers. It's kind of hard to pay attention to a soldier's KD in the current meta just because like you can go 5-25 and still have had a really good game. But it looks like damage-wise, King's Crew really turned it up on this one. Q-Stiff top damaging in the server at a big 361. Ether at 341 behind it, but it's just all dominance from King's Crew from there with Ed at 311 and Exile at 288.
Yeah, really strong stats showing from these demo men that were both consistently doing really good work for their respective teams. Q-Stiff having just a little bit of a better game, almost 2-1 KD going for him. Significantly less deaths. But I think that's what I was mentioning earlier in the game, where Ether was just constantly a little bit too far forward, and that probably is why he has so much damage and yet so many deaths. And you can't afford those. In some of those rounds, those were really pivotal moments because you need to have that demo man presence to lock them out of last so that you can hold on to second, or any number of different places where if there's no demo man, you have nothing to worry about, so you just push.
Yeah, there was quite a few times where Dunk would go down a soldier, they would sack Daff or Tambo, one of them would go in and die or whatever would happen, right? And they would have their other 2 splash classes just weren't in a position to like shut out the doorways, or would just die before they had any opportunity to. There was quite a few times, like you said, that Ether was dying in just a lot of the worst scenarios, and it only happened, a few times, but they were really key scenarios that he really needed to not die in. And again, I don't know if it's just a disconnect between him and the rest of his team where he's like, he wants to play aggressive in a scenario and his team isn't supporting him, or if, King's Crew kind of recognizes that he's singling himself out and just taking the opportunity to pounce on him, even if he is supported. But again, there was a lot of times where he was just getting caught out at really key moments.
Yeah. Anything else we can talk about, or can we go into Beyond the Summit and all the rest of this tournament going on today?
We can kind of look at the bracket here for a second. I do believe Ford is the next round for King's Crew here, while Dunk lowers himself into the lower bracket. So let me double check on that though, because I wasn't super paying attention to the bracket. I'm just here to cast games.
Yeah, no, when I saw it, the big names I remember seeing was Ford Gaming, the Boomers, which is a comeback team from some former Invite players. A lot of really interesting stuff going on. I remember seeing those two at the top of the seeding for the qualifiers when I looked at the roster earlier. We also have this this team that's just like a bunch of, I don't even know what you call them, just a bunch of squares.
I don't know if they're broke. I would say I don't know if they're emojis that are broken or if they're literally just black boxes in the text. But it is like Aim, Phelps, Alec. I want to say they have Mason. You know,
Bingo.
That grouping of players has a team, and it looks like they won their first round as well. So our second round is going to be in the upper bracket at least. It's going to be Ford Gaming versus King's Crew, and the Boomers versus the aforementioned Alec, Aim, Phelps, Mason team. Because I really don't know what to call them. Their name is literally just a bunch of black boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of the lower bracket, we do have one game. It's the Toon Squad versus I Drank 6-4 Locos, and their name is really long. But we will have that, and the winner of that game will play... Or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, the winner of that game will keep progressing through the lower bracket, but they are the lower bracket round one. And Dunk is in the lower bracket quarterfinals. They're awaiting the losers of the Boomer versus the Black Bars match.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, in case you aren't familiar with what this all is being done for, this is the Beyond the Summit qualifiers. We had an announcement come out, I think about a week or two ago, that was basically saying there's going to be a Beyond the Summit LAN tournament going on January 19th and 20th, starting next year, so about 4 months away. So it's really exciting stuff, hopefully, to kind of give a really nice little life back into the scene from previous tournaments that we've had in America, like the Rewind series and some other big names. But this is at the Summit, like the actual Summit house and everything like that. It's really exciting stuff.
Yeah,
isn't Summit like where they like? I'm trying to remember what its actual roots are. Isn't it like League of Legends or something?
I want to say it's League or Dota. They do something with an MMO, but I'm not super familiar with them. I'm sorry, what was that team? They do Dota. Let's say I actually had never heard of this company before this, but not gonna lie, I do live under a rock. But this is a pretty big event for TF2, I would say. There are gonna be only 8 teams. There's no open tournament unlike previous Rewind or iSeries events. But it should be really good teams at this event. If there's only gonna be 8, we got to make sure we have the best quality of teams. So that's why we're doing this this qualifier here. We want to find the best of the best to put on LAN. Give them that 5 ping. 144 hertz, maybe even 240. I don't know what they have,
but I think that was like one of the big announcement, like headers, like taglines. No cloud LAN.
Yeah, we aren't gonna have 1 to 2 second input delays because we're playing on a cloud. It's gonna be a real LAN server. We're giving them the real LAN experience.
Yeah, very exciting stuff, and that's gonna be going down, like I said, January 19th and 20th. This is one of... is there going to be another qualifier after this, or is this the only qualifier this time?
I believe this is the only qualifier. To my knowledge, the reason it's like a double bracket and everything's best of 3 is because based on where you place as teams kind of confirm their attendance for the event, they'll kind of just go down the list based on where people placed. I want to say there's only 2 teams in the EU qualifier. So I don't know if they're going to get one of them along with maybe a potential 7 team or not, but basically, to my understanding, is that they would invite teams based on where they placed in this until they had 8 teams. Until they had as many top-level teams for their region.
And so, yeah, those teams we mentioned, like Ford Gaming and Ascent... Or not Ascent. Ascent's not in it. Ford Gaming, Dunk Masters, King's Crew, and the Boomers, who I think are really the strong ones to look out for. They've got, Yite, Badonsky, High Five, Rando, Laz. Really big names coming together for this... Boomers roster. I think there was what's it called? One of those news articles posted on TFTV on our website, teamfortress.tv, where it kind of goes into detail about the team that was put together And it's really exciting stuff that they're going to have a chance to put themselves out here because, all these players are really good. They're definitely going to, I think they're going to be able to take it but they got to first go up against things like King's Crew as well as Ford Gaming, who are still in this qualifier to play the rest of this afternoon.
So yeah, I don't know if we have a ton else to talk about. I don't know if we're going to throw it to music or whatever. The next round of games is scheduled to start at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 3 Central. I thought it was 4. The website says 4. I'm looking at the
if it's 4, then
bracket.
there's no time to waste, folks. Only 30 minutes to go, and you'll be getting some more hot TF2 action. But yeah, that's going to be happening very shortly. And then I think either 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock. It all depends on the scheduling and how fast the matches go.
And I am being told that both of their upper bracket games will be casted. So we're going to have Capping TV casting the Boomers versus the Black Bar. I don't even know what to call them. I'm just going to call them the AIM team because I want to say he's the one who organized it all. And Ford Gaming versus King's Crew will be here on, I want to say TFTV 1, although it might be TFTV 2 because I do believe the EU qualifier is also happening today. But again, it's only 2 teams, so... Or no, the EU qualifier is happening tomorrow on TFTV 1. And we are going to be casting the other game here. As production has decided that we are calling that team Black Bar.
Yeah, Black Bar with a lot of really good players going in. The EU qualifier is happening today. It's slotted for 1 p.m. Eastern, so it should have already started.
The page says tomorrow on the sidebar, at least.
Yeah, it says
because I think they were Does it?
Yeah, we got Alba and a couple other players from the Bus Crew, and this team called the Sauna Slayers, which has Polygon, Smire,
it's the new AMS
Zebasai,
team.
Yeah.
But yeah, there should be lots of great TF2 action for both of the NA and EU qualifiers, because both the Bus Crew and the Sauna Slayers are both very, very good Prem teams in their region, and we have a lot of top-level talent here in North America playing. And yeah, production is confirming that EU is tomorrow.
Yeah. So yeah, that's everything going on today. We'll be letting you guys have updates in the chat. I know Looster's helping a lot with this, organizing things, and people like TSC, I think, or Dash, or someone is running this and is going to be able to give updates to you guys in the chat. So if you guys can just hang out, chill out, we'll have some more action coming for you guys later to this evening and probably within the next half hour.
So yeah, that's been our round 1 cast. We're going to throw it over to some music, I believe, and we'll be back. Well, we won't be back. I believe it's Looster and Xtine or our next round of cast.
Yeah.
Let me double check. Yeah, it's going to be Looster and Xtine who are casting the next round of games here on TFTV. I do not know who Casting TV has. I don't know if anybody for Casting TV is in the chat, although Mitch was Discord messaging me. Maybe he can send me that quickly. But we're going to throw it over some music, and there should be some good games here in the next half hour or so.